The rich rude lady and the poor guy, Adononko was used to getting what she wanted when she wanted it. Raised in an environment where wealth meant power, she viewed people below her family's economic level with thinly veiled disdain. So when her car, a shiny silver SUV, broke down on a dusty road just outside her town, she was more annoyed by the inconvenience than worried about getting it fixed, as she stood by the roadside in her designer blouse and skirt struggling to get a signal on her phone. A young man approached her. His name was Chike, a local mechanic known for his skill and kindness. Adaora eyed him with suspicion, noticing his faded work overalls and dirt-stained hands. "Need help?" Chike asked with a polite nod. Adaora rolled her eyes. "I doubt you could handle a car like this," she scoffed. Chike smiled, undeterred by her tone. "I fix all kinds of cars, madam. Let me take a look." Reluctantly, Adaora let him inspect the engine, watching with crossed arms as he walked.
Within minutes, Chike identified the problem. "Your radiator has a leak," he explained. "I can fix it for you if you like." "Fine, just do it," she snapped, turning away. Chike took his time, carefully repairing the issue and explaining what he was doing in case it happened again. When he finished, Adaora looked him up and down with a mixture of suspicion and disdain. She pulled out her wallet, only to pause. Instead of handing over any cash, she turned back to her car without so much as a thank you. Chike watched her drive off, his expression calm, but his eyes betrayed a hint of disappointment. This was a common reaction from people who felt they were above him. A week later, Chike was at the community market with his younger sister, Ifeoma, helping her pick out vegetables. The market was bustling with people, vendors calling out prices, and children running around. As he moved through the crowd, he spotted a familiar face, Adaora. She was complaining to a vendor, clearly displeased with the local produce. Her frustration was evident as she examined a batch of tomatoes with an almost pained expression. When she spotted Chike, her lips tightened and she pretended not to see him. But Chike didn't mind. Instead, he walked up to her with a gentle smile. "Good afternoon, madam," he greeted her. Adaora barely looked at him. "Are you stalking me now?" she snapped. Chike chuckled. "Not at all. This is just the market. Everyone comes here." She looked around, realizing that Chike was right. Her haughty expression softened, just a bit. "I suppose," she mumbled. She felt an odd discomfort, noticing how he seemed at ease, helping his sister, smiling at people he knew. There was a warmth in him that she wasn't used to. The third time Adaora saw Chike was at her own family's compound. Her father had hired a local company to fix some machinery, and to Adaora's surprise, Chike was one of the workers. She tried to avoid him. But later that day, she caught him watching her as she carried out a pile of documents from the office. This time, Chike greeted her with a simple nod. Despite herself, Adaora couldn't help but acknowledge him. "You again," she murmured. "Looks like we're destined to keep meeting, madam," Chike replied, his tone respectful but light. Adaora hesitated, not sure how to respond. She wasn't used to people from Chike's background treating her with such casual respect. Something about his demeanor unsettled her. He was poor, yes, but he didn't seem intimidated by her at all. One evening, Adaora's family experienced a shocking turn of events. Her father's business ran into serious legal trouble, and almost overnight, the Nonko family's wealth crumbled. Adaora's friends, who used to flock around her for parties and outings, stopped calling. Her social status was rapidly declining, and she could feel the shift in the way people treated her. It was during this challenging time that she encountered Chike once again, this time on the bus. She had to sell her car to pay off some debts, and public transportation was now her only option. Chike noticed her as she tried to squeeze onto the crowded bus, her head down to avoid being recognized. He offered her his seat. "Adaora, please, take it," he said quietly. Adaora glanced at him, torn between pride and exhaustion. Finally, she accepted his offer, sinking into the seat with a quiet thank you. She couldn't believe how her life had changed. Chike sat beside her, his calm presence comforting. "I heard about your family," he said gently. "If there's anything I can do, let me know." Adaora's throat tightened with emotion. She didn't know why, but Chike's simple kindness moved her. For the first time, she saw him not as a poor mechanic but as a person with empathy and strength. As weeks went by, Adaora found herself in need of work to support her family. She struggled to find a job that matched her skill set, as she had never had to work before. Desperate, she reached out to Chike, who introduced her to a volunteer position at the local community center where he helped out after hours. At first, Adaora was reluctant. But soon, she found herself genuinely enjoying the work. The community center helped underprivileged children with after-school programs. And Adaora discovered a newfound sense of purpose. One evening, as they were locking up, Chike noticed the sadness in her eyes. "It's not easy, losing what you once had," he said. Adaora nodded. "I used to look down on people who didn't have money," she admitted. Now I don't know who I am without it," Chike smiled, his gaze warm. "Money doesn't define a person. I've always believed that kindness, respect, and hard work do." For the first time, Adaora felt herself begin to understand. She looked up at him, genuinely grateful. "Thank you, Chike," she whispered. For everything. Over the months, Adaora's character transformed. She found herself humbled and grateful for the small things, like the laughter of the children at the center or the warm greetings of her new community. Her family, too, adjusted to their new life, learning to appreciate what they had rather than what they'd lost. Meanwhile, her friendship with Chike deepened. They spent hours talking about their lives, their struggles, and their dreams. Chike told her about his ambition to open his own workshop one day, and Adaora shared her plans to start a small business helping local artisans promote their crafts. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, built on mutual respect and admiration. Adaora's friends and family noticed the change in her, how she was more grounded and thoughtful. Even her father, once a proud businessman, had softened, helping out at the community center and building relationships with people he once would have ignored. One day, after months of hard work, Adaora finally saved enough to help Chike start his workshop. With her business skills and his technical expertise, they turned the workshop into a success. Chike's reputation as a skilled, honest mechanic grew, and Adaora became known in the community as a compassionate and hardworking woman. Their partnership blossomed into something more than friendship. Adaora and Chike found themselves supporting each other, learning from each other's strengths, and respecting one another's values. They continued working side by side, breaking down social barriers and inspiring others to see beyond wealth or status. The once rich, rude lady had found her place among the people she once looked down upon, and the poor guy had shown her that true wealth lay in kindness, resilience, and community. Together, they built a legacy of compassion and hard work that transformed their town, reminding everyone that it's not what you have, but who you are, that truly matters. Months had passed since the training center opened, and Adaora and Chike's lives were busier than ever. Their schedules were packed with apprentices to train, equipment to maintain, and community events to host. Despite the challenges, their connection deepened, strengthened by a shared purpose and mutual respect. However, not everyone viewed their success favorably. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, Chike received news that a well-established businessman was planning to set up a massive auto repair chain nearby, a direct challenge to their budding training center. The man was known for ruthless tactics, often buying out small businesses and undercutting prices until his competitors were forced to close. "We can't compete with that kind of power, Adaora," Chike said one night, frustration clouding his usually calm features. "What if he drives us out?" Adaora looked at him, her eyes blazing with determination. He may have power, Chike, but we have people. A massive auto repair chain nearby, a direct challenge to their budding training center. The man was known for ruthless tactics, often buying out small businesses and undercutting prices until his competitors were forced to close. We can't compete with that kind of power, Adaora, Chike said one night, frustration clouding his usually calm features. What if he drives us out? Adaora looked at him, her eyes blazing with determination. He may have power, Chike, but we have people. This community believes in us because they know we believe in them. Together, they set out to strengthen their bonds with the community even further. Adaora organized a fundraiser, inviting local artists and small business owners to contribute to a day-long event at the training center. They used the proceeds to sponsor students who couldn't afford tools or supplies, creating an opportunity for everyone to get involved. The event drew a huge crowd, and as the community gathered to support the cause, Adaora and Chike felt a renewed sense of hope. The businessman, despite his power and resources, couldn't buy the loyalty and trust they'd spent years cultivating. The months that followed brought both triumphs and challenges. As the training center grew, so did the responsibilities that came with it. Adaora found herself questioning her place in the organization. She'd always been driven by business and ambition, but the center had taught her a different kind of fulfillment, a joy rooted in serving others and lifting people up. One evening, as she looked over the center's finances, she noticed an opportunity. By restructuring the center's finances, they could increase their outreach and bring in more apprentices. It would require her full attention and possibly mean stepping away from the life of comfort and status she'd always known. Sitting beside Chike, she shared her thoughts, feeling both excitement and apprehension. I want to be fully involved in this, Chike, she said, her voice steady but soft. I want to make this my life's work, not just a side project. Chike looked at her with quiet pride. I've seen how much you care, Adaora. It's rare to find someone willing to walk away from so much to follow their heart. Together, they made plans for a larger community initiative, bringing in mentors from other trades and setting up scholarship funds for youth who wanted to continue their education. As Adaora's commitment to the training center grew, so did her bond with Chike. They worked side by side, long days filled with laughter, challenges, and the satisfaction of seeing their efforts bear fruit. One evening, after a full day of training and paperwork, Adaora found herself standing alone with Chike under the center's newly installed porch lights. The quiet hum of the neighborhood settled around them as they watched the sun dip below the horizon, casting warm hues across the sky. Chike broke the silence. You know, Adaora, when we first met, I never thought we'd be here together like this. Adaora chuckled softly. Back then, I couldn't imagine myself here either. I thought wealth and power were everything. Now, I see that life is about purpose, connection, and resilience. The eyes met, and in that moment, unspoken words lingered between them. There was a sense of understanding, an acknowledgement of how far they had come, and perhaps even a glimpse of where they might be headed. The businessman, frustrated by his inability to drive Chike and Adaora out, resorted to underhanded tactics. Rumors spread about the center's integrity, and a surprise inspection threatened to shut down their operations due to a minor technicality. For days, Adaora and Chike worked tirelessly to meet new requirements, facing mounting stress and financial strain, but through it all, the community rallied around them. Customers, apprentices, and local businesses pitched in, helping them address every issue with dedication and love. Adaora stood in awe of the support they received, realizing that the love and respect they had fostered was more valuable than any material wealth. In their most difficult hour, they had not only survived but had also been lifted by the very people they served. Months turned into years, and the training center continued to grow, becoming a pillar of the community. Adaora and Chike had become not just leaders but symbols of resilience and compassion, inspiring others to see beyond wealth or status. One day, after wrapping up a meeting with new apprentices, Chike looked at Adaora and took her hand, a rare gesture of tenderness between them. "You've changed my life in ways I can't even begin to explain." Adaora's eyes softened as she looked at him, her heart full of gratitude and pride. "And you've changed mine. I never would have found my true purpose without you." Their partnership had become something deeper than friendship or business. It was a love that had grown from shared values, from struggles and triumphs, and from a deep understanding of one another's hearts. Years later, Adaora and Chike's training center had transformed into a full-scale academy, offering courses in multiple trades and supporting the livelihoods of countless families. Young people who once had no prospects now found themselves with a future, thanks to the vision and dedication of the rich, rude lady and the poor guy. Their love story became a legend in the community, a tale told to inspire generations. It was a story that reminded everyone that true wealth lies not in possessions but in purpose, love, and the willingness to lift others up. And as Adaora and Chike stood hand in hand, watching the next generation of apprentices take their first steps toward a brighter future, they knew that their journey had been worth every struggle, every sacrifice, and every moment spent building something beautiful together.